We're in Fountain Hills, Arizona. It's a beautiful day. It's very warm at the end of January.
The fountain here is one of the world's tallest. It's able to reach a height of 560 feet. And this is kind of a special place for us because this is where we got married.
So we thought we'd be a little bit romantic and answer some of your questions.
Our first question is, what percentage of the time do we free camp versus pay camp?
I guess on the road we do probably 2/3 pay, depending on where we're going. 2/3 of the time we'll pay for full hookups. That's because, like, if we're going to the Redwoods or something, we might want to make a base camp for a week and have full hookups. But while we're actually traveling in between destinations, we'll go as many as 3 days without any hookups. And
yeah, generally we don't go more than 1 or 2 days without, and then we'll maybe have 1 day with, and then go back to, depending on how long of a trip it is, but we'll generally go back and forth while we're traveling.
Yeah, so.
But if we're going to be staying in any place for several days or more, we will do some type of paid camping.
Yeah, and we try to get the best deal we can, of course.
Of course.
In a previous question and answer video, we mentioned that we'll sometimes get a month-to-month internet connection, and we do that to save some money over data, even if we're not going to be at a place for an entire month. So the question is, what does that actually look like when it's hooked up? Well, it's essentially a cable company will have a coax cable that comes off of their post right where we park with our full hookups in the site, and we'll just run that cable over to our fifth wheel, and it screws into a pre-existing connector that we have on the fifth wheel. And then on the inside, right by the television, there is a connection there, and I'll take that and put a little section of coax and go over to the modem, and then in turn connect to a router so that we can have Wi-Fi throughout, and also some wired Ethernet connections. So it ends up being a little bit more cost effective that way, even if we're not going to stay for an entire month, because sometimes it's only like $30 some,
yeah,
and we're getting at least 50 megabits a second that way, and sometimes as much as 150. So it works really well. So we'll do that even if we're going to be somewhere for even just a week.
Yeah, and we'll often ask the park in advance if they have a local internet company that you're able to hook up to before we make a reservation. So
yeah, and we'll do that
good.
Even if the place provides Wi-Fi, because
yeah,
we've learned that Wi-Fi doesn't usually exist when they say it does. So
right.
and that's usually because they're not getting the service that they're paying for, and they
right.
need to probably talk to somebody about getting their system straightened out. But anyway, it seems to be more cost effective that way, and it's easy to just screw in the cable and away we go.
Yep. One question I thought was kind of interesting was someone asked if we get more colds and flus now that we're full-time RVing than in our house. And I would definitely have to say yes, because when we were in our house, we worked at home, we weren't in contact with a whole lot of people. Now we're out, we meet people all the time, we're around people all the time, we're going places where there's people from, you know, all parts of the country and all parts of the world, and it's just a lot easier to pick up those things when you're around more people.
I definitely like to be able to say that we don't, but I guess if we were in nature the whole time, that would be greatly diminished. But being that we're traveling, we are in contact with a lot of people, we exchange things with people, money, handle money, things
right.
like that, all kinds of things. So yeah, I'd like to be able to say, I think I actually have had a little bit more just in the last 6 months probably than I ever have, and we've been around a lot more people in the last 6 months than I have in many years. So
for sure, so that's just something that comes with the territory, I guess.
We've had a truck question come in, and that is, why did we choose a single over a dually? Well, there's a few reasons, and I think most of it's basically economical, I guess, but I guess the primary reason is that the specs didn't require it. To pull the fifth wheel that we're pulling, even fully loaded, we're well within the specs of the truck with a single. The dually would mean that we would have extra tires to maintain.
Yeah.
It would actually mean less on fuel mileage.
Right.
But one thing that I will say that we did do with our single is that we went with the long bed, which gave us also in turn a longer wheelbase. So we get great stability and handling as much as we can with the single, and it's well within the specs to haul what we're hauling. So it's just kind of the right tool for the right job, I guess.
Right.
We really didn't need that. And I'm not against in any way people having a dually,
Right.
because they may just want a lot extra for other things that they're planning to do, or they might be carrying or hauling a lot more weight than we are. But for what we have a 3500 Ram diesel truck, and you can watch the video that we did on our truck and learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah, trying to find parking for our truck in any parking lot is a challenge anyway, and a dually is even wider, so you need even more space.
Yeah, it's amazing trying to park this thing in places. I've always believed, even with a small car, that they make the parking spaces way too small.
Yeah.
And so with the truck, we usually park way out away from everyone and try to take up the least amount of room that we have to, but it's definitely a challenge sometimes. But yeah, so
It is.
It's fine though. We're tremendously grateful to have what we have, and it works just fine so far.
Yep. People often ask what kind of dog Barkley is. Barkley is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. He's a little bit different in that he's a tricolored. Most Cavaliers are just the kind of rust color and white, but he has three colors: the rust, the black, and the white. And he's a real sweetie.
Yeah, he's a good dog. Just recently we've found that Barkley's having a little bit of health problems. He's 7.5 years old, and we noticed that, well, backing up a little bit, we took him to the vet a few months ago because he needed to get caught up on his shots, which is something that some places will require. I mean, they're good for the dogs to have them anyway, but some places will require shot records to even check into their campgrounds or RV parks. So we got him all caught up on his shots, and when we were there, I mentioned that I noticed that he was, messing with his ears quite a bit, and so they looked in and they thought, well, he should get some cleaning stuff for him and to help with just rinsing them out. So we've been doing that for a while, and then we noticed recently that he seemed to have lost his hearing completely. He wouldn't respond to all the things that he would normally. I could make loud noises right behind his head. We could bang on the wall or something, which he would normally bark a lot when he'd hear those kinds of sounds, and then he's just stopped responding completely. We actually took him to a vet today and had a whole series of tests done on him and had his ears cleaned out and his eardrums checked and everything. And,
3 different kinds of medicine and
medicines now, and we think even just from the clearing of the ears that it's come back like just a tiny little bit in the hearing. He seems to respond to high-pitched noises, but we're hoping that maybe after some of the inflammation goes down and the infection that he seems to have is better, that his hearing will be restored, or at least significantly better than it is. But he's such a great dog, and we love having him around. He's such a good boy.
A good boy.
It's like the fountains come on behind us there. Well, we really enjoy answering your questions, so feel free to ask any other questions that you have in the comments area of this video, and we'll try to get it answered in an upcoming questions and answers video.
And don't forget to share and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
The second question.
Like a duck or something flew in my mouth. Are you ready?